The true Omega Sword is going to be one of the better Sword and Shields in this game. It does come with really good stats out of the box, with 220 attack, 10% affinity, and 70 hits of white. As for its built-in skills, it does come with Guard Up 3, which is only useful in the Omega fight since it has a few unblockable attacks, but the main skill of this weapon is Synthetic Shield, which gives you and nearby allies a defense boost whenever you perfect guard. On its own, the defense boost is plus 30 for 30 seconds, but with 4 pieces of Omega armor, the buff does get enhanced to plus 45 defense for 45 seconds. If you watched my guide on perfect guarding, you should know that perfect guards basically define Wild Sword and Shield playstyle. Hence, the defense buff should be active throughout the majority of the hunt. Obviously, this weapon is going to be good in multiplayer to give your team a little extra survivability, but even for yourself, just using True Omega Sword is at least a plus 55 defense boost, since the weapon itself does come with a plus 25 defense bonus, which is quite significant. So Synthetic Shield is not too bad of a skill. Now unfortunately, when it comes to determining the value of Synthetic Shield, I have to compare to Offensive Guard, and personally, I'd rather have Offensive Guard. The buff doesn't last as long as Synthetic Shield and doesn't apply to your allies, but a 15% attack boost is just way too good, and I'm going to prefer it more than plus 30 defense. So unfortunately, the True Omega Sword is not going to be the best non-Ardean Sword and Shield in my opinion, especially considering that it doesn't come with any element or status. Would have been nice if this was an Ice Element Sword and Shield since the other options are very mid. Also a bit disappointing this weapon isn't the best considering you have to beat the hardest monster to unlock it. But even so, the True Omega Sword is still a decent option in general, and its main strength lies as a tank or as a support weapon. And as you probably already know, the Sword and Shield is no stranger to playing the role as a support or healer weapon, since it not only has one of the faster sheathing times, but it can also just use items while the weapon is unsheathed. So if you want to make a Sword and Shield healer build, you might as well use the True Omega Sword. An example build would look something like this. The charm has 4 levels of wide range, a level 2 armor slot, and a level 1 armor slot. But if you don't have anything like that yourself, you can use the craftable wide range charm instead. For the skills, wide range 5, speed aiming 3, and free meal 3 are basically your non-negotiables when it comes to any healer support build. On the weapon, we have Offensive Guard 3 since if you're perfect guarding to trigger Synthetic Shield, you might as well get the 15% attack boost with it, and we also have Razor Sharp 3 to conserve sharpness. As for the rest of the build, I have most of the main damage boosting skills like Weakness Exploit, Agitator, Maximum Might, just so I can do some decent damage myself. Additionally, I did manage to fit 1 level on Mushroommancer to at least be able to eat blue mushrooms, but if you really like Mushroommancer for some reason, you certainly could sacrifice some offensive skills for more levels. I just don't think Mushroommancer is that useful beyond the first level. Of course, as a healer, you need to also have a proper item loadout. At the very least, make sure you bring Mega Potions and the stuff to craft more Mega Potions. You can also consider bringing Might Seeds, Adamant Seeds, Demon Drug, and Armor Skin for buffs, maybe stuff like Antidotes or Nullberries for status healing, and also bring the appropriate mushrooms if you have Mushroommancer. Additionally, make sure you set up your Radial menu to have most if not all the previously mentioned items on it. It's going to be way more convenient to use items this way as opposed to scrolling the item bar. Additionally, in the options menu, consider changing the Radial menu item use controls to Type 2, as it'll be much easier to use a Radial menu this way. But anyways, that is all I have to say. The remainder of this video will just be some gameplay using the build featured in the video, but if there's something you'd like to add, leave a comment down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.